You spent hundreds of dollars on a Salesforce CRM or any other CRM for that matter, and you spent some additional hundreds of dollars for the implementation of that system. We built amazing features and buttons and charts and everything. And then after 3 months or 6 months, we asked the team how it's coming along, only to realize that nobody's using it. Or maybe most of them are not using it. Or the ones that are using it are not using it properly. Some people are using spreadsheets. Some people are using their own tools and papers and platforms. And why not? Why? What happened and how to fix it? This is what we're talking about today. It's not just we spent time and effort and money on these implementations, but we also came back to the same problems that we had before. Some data is in this sheet, some data is in that other sheet, some data is in our heads, some data is just like in papers and in tools and in other platforms, and some data nobody knows about. We ask the question like, where's this information? Nobody knows. It takes us time to answer simple questions like, how much revenue did we generate last week? How many new donors have we had last week? What is the average donation amount for this campaign? Questions like this. It takes us some time and we have to dig. And even after going through all of our tools and platforms and sheets, we might not trust this information very much. None of our processes are automated. Are our donors getting this thank you acknowledgement letter after every donation? Do we know that they are getting these emails? I get this call from one of our constituents. Hi, my name is John. Hi, John. It's good to hear from you. How are you? And I didn't know who that John is. I don't know John. Like I keep trying to remember from the last event. Did we meet? Or maybe like, is he one of our donors? I just don't know. And only to realize that later, either during the call or after the call, that John is one of our big supporters, one of our big donors, or maybe John sponsored one of our events before, or John's company sponsored one of our events like a couple of months ago. What is it that we are losing if we don't know this information? Knowing this information means there is room for developing this relationship with John or with John's company. It means that there is potential for collaboration or additional donations or support from them, right? On the other hand, if we don't know this information, specifically if they realize throughout the call that we don't know them, imagine being a big supporter or a big donor, and then the nonprofit that you are supporting, they don't even acknowledge you and they don't realize who you are. What happens is that you're likely to lose them. What are the chances that you lose this opportunity? The first thing we need to do is to find out what happened. Remember that the biggest objective, if not the only objective, of any piece of technology or software is that it addresses and solves the business needs and problems. It shouldn't be that the business adjusts to the technology. It should be the other way around. The technology should meet and adjust and be edited to meet the business needs. The biggest culprit for new systems is that the team find out that this system is not meeting our business needs. It's not solving our problems. That's why they stop using it. So the first thing we need to do is to ask a few questions. And we speak with the team, we speak with everybody who used the system or was supposed to use the system and they never used it, or they used it and they stopped using it. And we ask them questions like, what is it that we were expecting from the system and this system is not meeting those expectations? What were our pain points and problems that we had before and the system didn't solve? Right? Why did we start using the system and then we stopped using it later on? When we ask these questions, we will find out what the problem is. And in order for us to solve a problem, we need to first know and understand the problem. Now that we know the problem, it's time to solve them. And the plan to solve these problems is to list them down, all of these problems, find out the dependencies, which one of these problems need to be solved first and which one needs to be solved later. And based on that, we start addressing them one by one. Now, let's talk about some of the common problems. Some of the common problems nonprofits face when adopting a new CRM or a system. The first thing would be lack of analytics. One of the cool things about systems is that you get to have one dashboard telling you everything at a glance. You just look at the dashboard or the list of charts and you see how the company is performing overall. How much revenue are we generating per week, per month, year over year? how many new donors do we have, which one of our campaigns is successful, which one is not successful, which fund or which gift designation are we getting most donations towards. All of this information at a glance helps us make decisions. Another problem is that there is no tangible outcome, such as it takes me 2 hours to do this task in spreadsheets, and now that we have a new system, it still takes me 2 hours to do the same thing. What's the benefit? Why? Or like, why would I use the system? Like, it's the same. I will go back to the same comfort zone I had before. It's just the same. Another example of the lack of tangible outcomes is that we don't have data quality enforcement. An example is when we enter dates, like when we enter dates of donation, somebody would enter the donation date as January 10, 2025. Another person is going to type down 1/10/2025. Another person is just going to type January, the entire word. Some people just like put the month without the day of the month. So when you try to build reports on top of this to find out like how many donations did we get in the month of January, this system just doesn't know. Like it wouldn't give you that information. So we had this problem when we performed analysis in the Excel sheet because we couldn't tell which month because we didn't enforce a specific date format. Now we have the same problem in the new CRM. The common problem is to forget to enter some information. If we mark a major gift that we have been pursuing for some time as closed lost or lost, and then we don't specify the reason. I want to specify the reason. When using a CRM, we could require a reason if you conditionally, if you specify that the donation is lost, then we could ask you, what's the reason? And if something pops up saying, hey, what's the reason? Then it's very unlikely that you're going to miss to enter that. Another common problem is too many questions. I'm trying to just, like create this constituent record in the system and it's asking me like 20 different questions. I'm trying to enter this donation and the system's asking me 30 questions. If all I need to enter is like a couple of pieces of information, just allow me to enter this information for now, and then I can come back to this later and add more information. Another problem is the lack of automation. One of the biggest benefits of using a system or a piece of technology is that we get to automate stuff. And instead of having to populate every field, for example, we can get some fields to have default values. We can calculate fields automatically. We can perform aggregates like the sum and the count. The system gets to do all of these automations for me instead of me having to do all of this myself. Another big problem is when the system just feels like an Excel sheet. It's like it's giving me the exact same features that I had before. What's the difference? The system is supposed to give me additional capabilities, such as sending an SMS message, sending an email from within the system, having a portal for volunteers to interact with, processing donations, like as in charging a donor, provided that we have consent from them and we have their payment method information, generating tax receipts. If a system is not giving me more capabilities and more features, then it's just another Excel sheet. And remember that we shouldn't be pursuing fancy, good-looking features because they just look nice and colorful and stuff. Instead, features are supposed to be solving problems. A few final notes on how to get the team to adopt new technologies and systems. Number one, get everyone involved early on from day one. Do not go for a Salesforce or a CRM implementation that goes for 6 months and then the team doesn't know about it until go live. And instead, get them involved from day one, from the planning phase. Ask them, what kind of problems do we have? What is it that we're trying to solve? What would make your life easier, right? Remember, if they are excited about the system, if they are participating and they are engaging and they are part of the entire process, they are more likely to adopt and use the system. Number two, throughout the process, throughout the implementation, and even after we complete the implementation and we continue to add new enhancements and features, let the driver be the business, not the system. It is the business need, again, that drives what system and what features to build. Every feature must be built to address a business need or a business problem. Number three, do not build one massive system at once. Do not go for a 12-month implementation of a system. Instead, break it down into smaller pieces. Go for like one project for 3 months and then another for 3 months and so on, and repeat. After you go live with the first phase or first project, go live, use it, collect feedback, learn what went wrong, what went right, learn from those, and repeat. Number 4, empower super users. And this is different from everybody. When we spoke earlier and we said we need everybody to be involved, this could be involved through email, through surveys, through announcements, but there must be a group of people that we want them to be involved with the entire project as much as possible. They get trained, they learn about new features, they test the system, they make announcements, and they convey the message to the rest of the team. They get them excited, and later on they serve as help desk as well. These people will definitely adopt the system, and they will encourage the rest of the team to adopt the system as well. After participating in hundreds of projects, I came to learn that the most successful adoption and implementation of technology is when we know what we want, is when we know what the objective is, what the end goal is, and we keep this in mind all along. The destination comes first, the journey follows.